Milo was the designer's designer. He always saw design as a way of solving problems and making people happier. If he could design a product that would bring a family together, for instance, that was very important to him. He just had a way of sort of pulling it into his designs.
In 1953, Milo Baughman, a young budding designer from California, came to High Point. And his last stop, a high school friend of my father's took Milo aside and said, "There's a gentleman that you need to talk to by the name of Thayer Coggin. Why don't you show him your designs?" He had real thin lines, sort of European, modern, Scandinavian-influenced designs. After an hour, my father said, "I'm not really sure that I understand this, but I really like it." And they shook hands, and for 50 years, they worked together on a handshake agreement.
But Milo was always trying to push the envelope in terms of design. He was very much aware of design trends worldwide and fashion trends, and he liked to experiment. Sometimes I'm sure he wanted to do things that were just sort of over the top.
My dad would come home and say, "Well, Milo had this unusual idea today. I just don't think it's going to work. But you know what, I'm going to build it for him anyway."
It was a whole different direction. It was a rebellion against the very ornate design that had come to America from Europe. But initially, it was like people would look at these very simple designs and, I don't know that they understood it. I don't think a lot of people did.
Those designs had to be revolutionary. The thin line designs were so different. Everything was big and bulky and oversized during that time period, and the lines were just so clean and unusual. The wartime generation that was coming back were looking for something different, and it really caught on. That's the whole part of that pioneering and revolutionary process. You have to twist people's brains a little bit.
His work is just timeless, right? And it's still relevant today. And trying to reinterpret his work would have been a futile use of energy because his work is that good.
It's been very important that we stay to our roots. For over 60 years, we continue to build furniture the same way we started building it in 1953.
These are the original designs. I don't think in even Milo's and Thayer's wildest imagination they would have thought that, gosh, 50 years later, our products are still relevant again, but that's about as good as it gets.
And I know those elements of his character and his kindness are in his designs. He was a perfectionist. He had a terrific eye for detail, and it's something to be appreciated then and now.
I'm actually very happy to be here this evening because it gives me an opportunity to give you a little bit of insight into the real Milo Baughman. And as I was growing up, he frequently took the opportunity to sit down and explain the difference between good and evil. So Milo held up pictures of two chairs. He pointed to one and said, "Son, this chair represents evil." I don't like to use this word around you, but eventually you will hear it anyway, so it might as well come from me. Son, this chair is traditional.